Welcome to my presentation on the coherence principle. I found two slides that I think violate some of the principles that we have been learning over the last few weeks. This first slide here that is entitled The 30 Goals Challenge for Teachers. I think the entire presentation by this lady, Shelley Sanchez Terrell, was pretty good. But when I got to this page, I noticed that she gave a picture of herself and then she has a picture of her dog wearing glasses. I think that this was a little bit distracting. It was, according to the coherence principle on page 152 of our textbook, it's adding interesting but unnecessary materials to the presentation, and this can harm the learning process. When I got to this page, I was somewhat distracted because I think it was not necessary for her to have her dog with an eyeglasses and everything there. So to correct this, I think that it would be more important if she just gave us a picture of herself without the dog. And so I have used the cropping feature here. I have cropped out the dog and now just focus on what we really want to learn, which is a picture of herself and all the information that we need to be able to access her slide share. Here's a second slide that I found. At first glance at this slide, you might say, wow, there's so much color, there's so much information, there's so much going on in this slide. This slide violates at least two of the principles that I can recall. One, the coherence principle on page 164 of our textbook, where the research shows that there is evidence for using simpler visuals with fewer details, visuals with fewer words. And so I think that this visual has too much. It's crowded, it has too much information. You're not able to see clearly what's going on. And so this needs to be corrected. Another principle that is violated is what we learned in chapter 4, applying multimedia. On page 72 of our textbook, it says that we should avoid decorative graphics. Decorative graphics, they decorate the page, but they do not enhance the message of the lesson. And I think that this slide is also very colorful, very decorative, but then it's doing more harm than good. So my suggestion for this would be, there are 6 steps in this slide. What I would do is break it up into 6 parts with 1 part on each slide. Enlarge the slide so that you can see the details more clearly. You can spend time on each point and you'll be able to be more effective in your presentation. And so if you look on my next slide here, this slide is just with the first part of the entire process, and now you can see more clearly what the presenter wants you to do in doing research. He's saying define the subject, brainstorm, etc., etc. This is much more clearer. It has less information on the page, even though it's somewhat a little bit of information, but it's not as crowded, not too much, not as decorative as the previous slide. So what I would do is, in my other slides, I would have the other parts 2 through 6, presented separately so that more time can be spent on each part of the process. This is my findings for the coherence principle. I hope you enjoyed it.